Well, hello again, my sweets. It's YaYa here with Story Time with Papa Moon and YaYa. Today's story is going to be Goodnight Gorilla. This was written and illustrated by Peggy Rathman. This was originally written in 1994. So it starts on page 133. So everybody get their books out and follow along with me. Goodnight Gorilla. See the watchman there walking away from the gorilla with his flashlight? Oh, the gorilla took his keys and he unlocked the cage and now he's walking behind him. Good night, elephant. See, they're walking by the elephant's cage. The gorilla is unlocking the cages as they walk by. Good night, lion. Good night, hyena. Good night, giraffe. He's unlocked all their cages. Good night, armadillo. Armadillos are so funny. Look at the whole line of them. There's the gorilla and the elephant and the lion and the hyena and the giraffe and the armadillo. They're all walking into his house. He's sitting on the side of the bed, taking off his shoes. There's Mrs. Security Guard, fast asleep. She doesn't even know they're there. Everybody's laying down. Good night, dear, his wife said. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. All those good nights and all those animal voices. I wonder how an elephant says good night. Good night. No, no. How does an armadillo say good night? I wonder what they sound like. Can you make an armadillo good night sound? Eyeballs in the dark. She flips on the light and she sees the gorilla laying down beside her. In her pajamas, she takes the flashlight and she leads everybody back to the zoo. Good night, zoo, she says after everybody gets back in their cages. Good night, dear, she says. Good night, her husband says, Mr. Security Guard. Good night, gorilla, says the little mouse. And there's the gorilla sleeping between them. That's such a sweet story. So good night, Layla. Good night, Lily. Good night, Judah. Good night, Anna Lynn. Good night, Julia. Good night, Gavin. Good night. YaYa and Papa Moon love y'all.